Hello, welcome to Bragbe TV. If you are new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. Biography of Mohamed Morsi. As far as presidents go in Egypt, Mohamed Morsi has been the shortest serving president. He served as the 5th president of Egypt from the 30th of June 2012 to the 3rd of July 2013. The cause of this very short time in office is that he was sacked through a coup d'etat that was led by General Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Mohamed Morsi was born on August 28, 1951 in Ashagia Governorate on the eastern side of the Nile Delta. He bagged his bachelor's degree in 1975 from the University of Cairo, where he studied engineering. He furthered his education and in 1978, he bagged a master's degree in engineering methodology. He didn't stop at that. Oh no. He traveled to the United States for further education, and it was there he got his PhD in engineering from the University of Southern California in 1982. It cannot be said ever that Mohamed Morsi is not a well-educated and intelligent man. After his doctorate, he was employed to teach engineering at the California State University, Northridge. He did this from 1982 to 1985. Morsi didn't just teach during that period, as he also worked for the National Aeronautics Space Administration (NASA) on the development of engines for their space shuttle program. After his time abroad, he finally decided to return to Egypt in 1985. Back home, he became a professor of engineering at Sagazik University from that time till 2010. During this time, he dabbled into politics and became very active as a member of Muslim Brotherhood. In the year 2000, he was elected to the People's Assembly, and he held that seat as an independent because the Muslim Brotherhood he was a member of was formally banned in Egypt. During his time in the assembly, he established himself as some kind of social outcast, asking the government to restrict the entertainment scene as much as possible because he considered most of their content indecent and decadent. He also pressed for the enactment of political reforms, asking that repressive measures be lifted, such as emergency laws. This move will give the police full authority to arrest and detain anyone they wanted. He also pushed that the laws limiting the formation of political parties be lifted. He eventually lost his seat in 2005 when the administration of President Hosni Mubarak used electoral fraud as a tool to reverse all the gain made by the Muslim Brotherhood in the year 2000. He was subsequently appointed to the highest executive body in the Muslim Brotherhood, the Muslim Brotherhood Guidance Bureau. He was arrested in 2006 and imprisoned for 7 months for taking part in protests that called for the establishment of an independent judiciary in Egypt. Mohamed Morsi was arrested the second time in 2011 during the protests that occurred in January 2011, also known as the Egypt Revolution, that led Mubarak to step down as the president then. With Mubarak out of the way, the Muslim Brotherhood gained the much anticipated freedom to openly take part in Egypt politics, which eventually led them to form their own political party called Freedom and Justice Party. On the 12th of April, the Freedom and Justice Party elected Mohamed Morsi to be their candidate in the presidential election after Khairat Al-Shatta, their original candidate, was disqualified from the race. In the first round of the election that happened in May, Morsi won the highest number of votes and defeated Ahmed Shafik, a former prime minister under the rule of Mubarak, in the final runoff held on June 16th and 17th. By June 30th, Mohamed Morsi was sworn in as the 5th president of Egypt. When he began his presidential rule, his presidency was clearly in a state of subordination to the interim military government of the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces. But he eventually broke free from that and made a move that placed him firmly in a position of power and authority. In the mid-August, he announced the retirement of several senior members of the council and revoked the Constitutional Declaration of June 17th. His first major success in foreign policy occurred in November 2012, when he received praise on an international level for his help in brokering a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip after a week-long conflict. A day after the ceasefire, Mohamed Morsi addressed his unfriendly relationship with the judiciary by issuing an edict that declared that his authority as president will not be subject to any form of judicial oversight until a permanent constitution has been put into effect. With that move, the court's power to dissolve the Constituent Assembly, which is a 100-member body that is responsible for drafting a new constitution, was removed. That paved way for the officers that were implicated with violence against protesters during the Egypt Revolution and uprising against Mubarak to be retired. Mohamed Morsi defended his action by stating that it is a necessary measure to protect Egypt's transition to democracy. Even with his explanation, mass protests were still held against his actions, as the majority of the people saw it as dictatorial. A series of actions he took and things he approved of worsened the economic situation in Egypt. Public services became bad, and some events inspired by dogma increased political polarization and gave more strength to the opposition of his rule. In June 2013, there were many clashes between his supporters and critics, which gave way to a massive protest against his rule around the country on June 30. That also happens to be the anniversary of his inauguration into the presidential seat. By July 1st, the head of the Egyptian Armed Forces, General Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, gave Morsi an ultimatum, stating that the military will intervene to prevent the country from descending into a state of anarchy if Morsi was unable to appease the protesters. Morsi offered the protesters a negotiation, which they refused, and he also refused to step down. By July 3rd, the military made good of their words, suspended the constitution, and removed Morsi from his seat. He was also placed under arrest along with some other top leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood. He faced separate trials for a number of offenses, one of which included inciting the Brotherhood supporters to kill demonstrators in the anti-Morsi protests in 2012 and colluding with foreign groups such as Iran's Revolution Guards, Hezbollah, and Hamas. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison for his role in inciting violence against protesters, and a month later, he was sentenced to death for playing a part in certain acts of violence committed during the prison break in January 2011 during the revolution in Mubarak's regime. He also got life imprisonment for colluding with foreign militant groups to commit acts of terrorism in Egypt. Fortunately for him, his life imprisonment and death sentences were overturned by an Egyptian court in 2016, and a retrial was ordered. Up to the time of making this video, Mohamed Morsi remains in prison while he awaits a new trial. What's your take on Morsi as an African politician? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share, and subscribe to our channel.